Now that you understand the general supply chain a product can take to go from raw materials to manufacturing to a supplier to your own warehouse, and then go to the final customer, I would always suggest to map out the specific sections and specific supply chain of your own products so that we can later on look at any risks that might be involved and mitigate those risks through any strategies. So the key aspects to look at when you're looking at your supply chain is going to be split up into two major sections. The first section would be the product manufacturing and the supplier supply chain that I'm going to be getting the product from. First, I want to look at his raw material suppliers or the raw material suppliers I'm going to be needing to manufacturing my own product. I would list out those suppliers, maybe 1, 2, 3, even 4 different people that could be offering that same raw material to me or to my supplier. After that, I would look at the intermediate goods suppliers. What I mean by intermediate goods is, for example, if I'm building cabinets, the hinges that would be used for the doors would be a sort of intermediate good that's needed to make my final product, but not something I would consider to be a raw material. It's a finished product that's needed to get to my final product. I would also map out about 1 to 4 of suppliers of intermediate goods that I use to make my final product or that my supplier uses to make their product. Then I would map out the manufacturing facilities. Where does the final assembly go? Where is the final manufacturing? And then where are the final finished product suppliers? Where is their warehousing? And how is that warehouse going to be sending the product to me? When we're looking at how the product is going to be coming to myself, there are different types of transportation routes we should be looking at. Are they using roads? Are they using rail, which is very common in manufacturing? Will they be using air, or will they even be using sea freight? It is very possible that a manufacturer or even a supplier or both will be using a combination of all of these techniques and all of these routes to get a product to your location. So after that's done, I look at the local warehouse that I'm going to be using for my order fulfillment. And then I built out my full supply chain. How is that product going from raw material to intermediate goods to my supplier to my warehouse? Then the second type of supply chain I would want to look at would be the order fulfillment and the final customer supply chain. So my customers are interested in a few different aspects and a few things that I would need to take into account. So who are the final suppliers? I would just want to list it there to keep it in mind. What is the warehouse I'm going to be using for my order fulfillment? And what are any possible distribution channels I'm going to be using as well? In my example, I'm not going to be using any distribution channels. I'm shipping out orders directly from my warehouse. So what shipping companies am I going to be using? We do have different classes of shipping companies you need to be aware of. Smaller, lighter products, you would look at small package companies such as UPS Ground, or even the post office, or even FedEx Ground. For larger freight carriers, or even larger just orders that are palletized on skids, we could be looking at companies like FedEx Freight or even T-Force Freight. Okay, I'm sending out that product to my customer. I do need to map and be aware of what is the average transit time and what is the average shipping cost. Average transit time will help me know how long that product takes to get to my final customer, and how do I convey to my customer how long their order is going to need to get to them. An average shipping cost as a percentage of the revenue or the selling price of my product is important for me to know because it is going to be different between small packages and even large orders. Just from experience, I will say that smaller items or even medium-sized items will have a larger percentage of shipping costs as a function of revenue, and larger orders that are bundled and packaged together will have a smaller shipping cost as a function of revenue. So after I mapped out everything, I know how my products are going from my raw materials to my suppliers to my warehouse, how my products are going from my warehouse to my customer. It's important now to break down every aspect of those major sections we talked about and figure out, are there any risks involved and any mitigation strategies I can implement? And this is what we're going to be looking at in our next video and finalizing our supply chain and building our strong process to get our products to our customers.